Alright, we're down in the basement at 4212 Timber Hollow Loop. Looked around, and even though we have a bathroom on that far side, we can't find any exposed cleanouts over there. We do have one over here by the water valve. This one's probably going to take a short path across the house and then tie in with the branch that leaves. Or it's going to do it right there. Yep, it's going across the house, working its way over to the main branch. That's where our other downstairs bathroom's tying in. We've got a little water running there just in case our camera fogs up. There's a little bit of resistance there. I'm trying to determine why. We're going to take a little better look at that when we come back. Could just be because that's the more used line. It's got some scale built up there. We are now passing under the foundation wall and out into the yard. It does dive a little bit right there, but it's still lined up well and big enough hole to get through. We are now out into the yard and into PVC. That's how we know we're in the yard. Just trying to keep some clean water splashed on the lens. Because in the winter, your camera does show up really cold and then get put into a pretty warm sewer. So far it all looks good. We haven't seen too much standing water. There's a little bit right here. But that, just you need to know, our camera lens is about 1.25 inches tall. This isn't over the top of the camera lens, even though the soap suds are making it look like that. So it's a little flat, but so far, even with running water, it's no more than 1.25 inches of water. That's not enough to give us any major problems. Alright. So that was a little flat, but like I said, once we get done, we're going to run a little bit of water. We're going to get the running water off and see just how deep that is. Just went through one little minor flaw out in the yard. It's a touch flat. It's not enough to get too stressed about. It was always hovering right about the top of the lens of the camera, and in this case, that's about 1.25 inches deep.
How big is the pipe? 3-inch pipe?
4-inch pipe out here. And that's with that water running as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably no more than 3/4 of an inch. It's not deep enough to cause problems. We really don't get stressed out in these until we see 3 inches of water standing for a long time. Yeah. You do have another little low area here. And you just notice you see a little bit more buildup in those areas when you get that. This one, once again, right around that 1.25 inch mark, because if I pull back and it'll break right over the lens, it's sitting right at the top of my lens. And you see there is some little stuff floating around in there, but no heavy waste.
So it's just kind of
it's just
a flat spot.
It either settled a little, they didn't get it bedded perfectly, or they installed it just a little flat from the start.
But this goes out the front yard, right?
Yeah, and that right there is actually the tap to the city sewer. So it's an 80-foot long sewer, and it's not perfect because it does have a couple little low spots. I'm going to turn that water off because I want to let it sit there and drain down for a little bit. Just to back through here, and you see how it does just stand through there. It's probably even still getting a little bit of water from the top part, because it does slow it down, especially when it's just a trickle of water. And that's that little bit of grease.
So how deep do you think that is in a 4-inch pipe? Like
that's
1.25 inches or something?
1.25 inches at the most.
Yeah.
About 1 inch.
That's the grease on the left?
Yeah, you can see all the way down through there, and it's never more than about that deep.
Yeah.
This little ledge here is the greasy buildup, and that's 8 years of use. It really isn't enough to get too excited about. It just means it's a newer sewer that you really want to be a little more careful with. I mean, most PVCs fire and forget, but if you have a sewer like this, frankly, I think the rules are the same regardless of what size, what age, and what condition. You don't want things in here that shouldn't be in here. Grease will have the opportunity to do things like that. It'll, because that slow moving water, they get a chance to sit on the side, and then once a little bit sticks, a little more is going to stick to it. Paper towels, wipies, things that are heavy and don't want to break down like toilet paper does, can get caught in areas like this.
Okay.
See, as we're going through this one was well over the camera lens before. Now that we turn that one sink out, it's not even up to the camera lens. So it really, it's a flaw, but it's a minor flaw.
Okay.
And you really want to make sure stuff like no feminine hygiene products, that kind of stuff, things that don't break down, are heavy, will snag and catch other things.
Yeah, I'll just plug it up.
But pretty much stuff that shouldn't have been in the sewer in the first place.
Yeah.
So as long as you're putting stuff in here that should go in a sewer, I think you'll be fine.
So is it a metal pipe, steel pipe?
No,
It's
this is
PVC.
PVC, and it's just the green Schedule 40. That's us pulling back up into the house. Well, near the foundation. We're probably just on the other side of the foundation wall, because everything in the interior is ABS,
The
the black Schedule, and it's all fine. There's one spot I wanted to look at just because it was a little harder to get over than I was kind of surprised, but it is also where the main branch this way comes in and ties in, and that's kitchen and everything. And I think it might have a little bit of a hard water deposit there.
Never seen it.
Yeah.
How cool is it?
You know, I couldn't even see the spot this time. I'm gonna go back in and see if I can find it.
Something you didn't know about. In my former lifetime, I worked for the state inspecting wastewater treatment.
Oh, you did?
Ah,
Sewer plants, yeah.
I think it just must be the angle that turn is forcing me to come into this fitting, because it fights me right there. But I don't think it's anything in the pipe. I think it's the back side of the spring of my camera assembly, which is this long, catching on that back corner and not wanting to go through there easily. So because I see nothing there. I don't see any kind of a
It
deposit.
looks like it does a switch, or
Yeah.
an S-shaped thing.
It's got a little
Yeah.
thing right there. And that always makes it a little more entertaining.
It's entertaining.
Have you ever had one that you couldn't get the camera down?
Oh
Because of
yeah,
the turn or something?
it happens. Most of the time, it's only been a few times that I've been completely defeated, because I'll do things to my camera other people won't, because they're techs and they're not the owner,
Yeah.
and they're not allowed to make that call with a $10,000 camera. Not that those guys buy that camera, but
Yeah. But their boss wouldn't be happy.
but yeah. Whereas with me, it's my job and I want to see.